J-E-T-S,
Good job today, man. It's one at a time, and we'll get the job done. Y'all know what to say. On three. 1, 2, 3.
and the home of the Jets.
Mr. Jets Central, we have made it. We're in game week. Jets, Steelers, home opener, season opener. Are you excited? Are you exhausted? How you feeling, man?
Exhausted, dude. Absolutely not, man. I'm fired up. Look, it's week 1, Jets, Steelers. It seems like it seems like there's a lot of media attention with like the whole Rodgers versus Jets, Fields versus Steelers, right? They're the old teams, the old quarterbacks. But I mean, if you listen to press conferences with Aaron Glenn, Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers, even, like, no one is really making it that big of a deal. It seems like it's more so like this media hype buildup. No, I seriously cannot wait for it. I think the matchup is actually pretty solid for New York.
Yeah, I can't wait to break it all down. But a couple things before we go into that. Since we last talked, the final 53 came out and the practice squad came out. The Jets did some tinkering around. Are you surprised by the roster composition as it is today with only 5 wide receivers, 4 tight ends? They kept Gibson over Pritchett, even though they're on the practice squad. Are there any major surprises to you, or are you like you're chill with everything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually pretty pleased with how the practice squad turned out. Like, I'm happy that we kept all of our young receivers. I'm happy we kept Brady Cook. Now of course, right, we lose Donovan Edwards, who I felt like was pretty solid, throughout the entire preseason and training camp and whatnot. But yeah, he winds up in Washington, but that's really like the only major, quotations, like major loss.
Yep.
And if you only have one of those through the entire cycle, I think you're in pretty good shape. Like, as far as the 53-man roster goes, like, I think we're pretty talented, man. Like, with our first team, talk about like running backs, offensive line, corner, like we could just go through the positions, linebackers, starting defensive line. I think we're actually really, really, really good. But as soon as you start to talk about depth, you all of a sudden have major issues, which is obviously not really a great place to be.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL is a war of attrition, man. It's like everybody has a strong strong starting 22. It's what's after that. How do you handle adversity? How do you handle injuries? The Jets are light in certain areas. I'm wondering, after week 1, when the contracts aren't guaranteed anymore, maybe they tinker around and maybe make some other moves, because you can make a case for a lot of them. But it's interesting. Like the tight end position, I'm thinking they're keeping like that they want to run the football, ground and pound. That's why Rucker, to keep in Rucker. Yeah, so I understand it for now. I think it's a work in progress. They see as the offense gets rolled out in real time, you say, okay, listen, these guys are going to work. They're not going to work. So I'm not going to overreact to now, because we don't know what this offense is. We have absolutely no idea. My next question for you, though, is an interesting one, because I think we may have our first argument here. Is you're looking at this game, and you said, everybody's downplaying it. Rodgers is downplaying it. Aaron Glenn's downplaying it. It's just your season opener. Just want to get a win. Is this a statement game for the New York Jets?
Yeah, I think so.
I agree with you. Because
so no first fight of the podcast.
No, because I think it is, because you talked about changing your culture, not being the same old Jets, attention to detail, play physical, play fast. You don't want to get pushed around. You want to come off prepared. You got to show that on Sunday now. Talk is cheap, dude. Like, a lot of Jet fans are kind of skeptical because, like, you want to buy in, but now you want to see it against an opponent that's not the high-flying Buffalo Bills, or not this is an offense that these teams match up fairly well, where Aaron Rodgers. You literally saw him for the last 2 years in your own building. You know what I mean? So a lot of these defensive players know him. Justin Fields, the Steelers know him. But I think this is a game where the Jets can't afford to come out slow, sloppy, disorganized. They can't afford to get blown out. They've got to come out and compete and say, listen, we're not going to push it anymore. We're not your same old Jets. And I think that's really, really important. Set the proper tone week 1, dude. I honestly believe that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't want to confuse the two statements though. Statement game and must win.
Not a must win, but statement game. Like, say, for example, and this is going to sound terrible, but I'll justify it. I don't believe in participation trophies or moral victories. If they lose 21-20 in a very hard fought, very competitive game, and they just miss out, okay, not ideal, but it's a building block. Sean, okay, listen, this is a really good start to your team that you can build off it. That I like a very competitive loss while losing sucks, I'd be okay with. A 28-3 trouncing when Aaron Rodgers is sitting on a sideline laughing his ass off is not acceptable. To me, like, because they're like, they talk about setting a standard. You just said it, dude. This team, in terms of the starters, there's a lot of talent here, dude. There really is on both sides of the ball. Not being a fanboy, but there's Pro Bowl talent on both sides of the ball, enough where you should be able to compete and not get embarrassed.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think this week is also a good measuring stick game. Now, obviously, the Jets have to like we have our hands full, especially in the first chunk of the season, right?
Yep.
Bucks, Bills, list goes on. Lots of good teams that the Jets have to play, but to come out of the gate against Mike Tomlin, this veteran-led defense. I mean, you just think about the talent just overall on that team. Patrick Queen, Jalen Ramsey, Cam Hayward, despite him holding out. TJ Watt, Highsmith. Haven't even talked at all about offense with DK Metcalf, all these different guys, right? So if the Jets come out there, and by the way, something to make a note of, Mike Tomlin, he has months. He's had months, Arthur Smith, months to prepare for the New York Jets. Now, I think it is maybe a little bit difficult to game plan for the Jets right now because you don't actually have really anything on tape. The Jets showed nothing in preseason, just outside of basic stuff that everybody knew that the Jets were going to do. But you kind of think like, okay, Pittsburgh's probably going to focus on just stopping the run. Yep. But as far as like actual nuanced things, Tanner Engstrand, third down percentages, what does he like to call?
Yep.
How does Tanner Engstrand adjust throughout the course of the game? How does Aaron Glenn adjust throughout the course of the game? Steve Wilkes, maybe blitz percentage. Steve Wilkes play calling on third and shorts. Just all these like nuanced things, like essentially just data that Tomlin doesn't really have, right? Because it's this brand new team. But again, to kind of wrap things up, measuring stick game, a well-coached team filled with veterans that have hopes to make a deep playoff run. You're not signing Rodgers. You're not trading a second-round pick for DK Metcalf, paying him whatever, $100+ million. Or no, I don't think DK did. DK get $100+?
He got a huge money. I forgot what the number was. He got huge.
Yeah. In any case, you're not making these moves to be like, let's shoot for 9 wins, 10 wins. It's no, we need to knock off Baltimore, knock off Cincinnati. So, a good measuring stick game. We've seen Pittsburgh have some pretty big wins early in the season. It just kind of feels like Pittsburgh, they just tail off towards the end of the season for some reason. It's just so strange. And I get the frustration from the Steelers fan base because like they'll start like 6-2, 7-3, and then
they bench Justin Fields.
yeah, there you go. There you go. But I mean, like if you look at Rodgers, like throughout the course of his career, he's always been the opposite. He started slow and then picked it up as the season progresses, right? Like as the weather gets colder, the games get more meaningful. All of a sudden, Rodgers is just, frankly, deadly at the quarterback position. But measuring stick game for me.
Yeah, so we'll go through all the position battles now because we'll break it down. We can finally do an actual preview, which is exciting to me. What do you want? Which side? Let's do Jets defensive line versus Steelers offensive line. And I think the name everybody wants to bring up right off the bat is Broderick Jones because that was the guy the Jets initially wanted. That was the Will McDonald draft, wasn't it? Because Jones went the pick before. They got Will McDonald. How do you like that matchup?
2 picks before.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
So, no, sorry. Green Bay jumped 2 picks before. Who did they draft? Lucas Van Ness, I think. And then Broderick Jones. I believe actually, who was it? Pittsburgh traded up.
With the Patriots, I think.
With the Patriots, and then they went with Jones, to jump New York.
So quick on this, Metcalf signed 4 years, 132, $30 million signing bonus, 60 million guaranteed. So you have Jets defensive line versus the Steelers offensive line. You have the addition of Harrison Phillips. You hopefully get a healthy Quentin Williams, Jermaine Johnson's back. Will McDonald. We talked about the depth, maybe a little shaky in terms of the edge rushers and what's behind them. How do you like the matchup? Do they try to take advantage of Project Drones? What do you think about this matchup?
I think the Jets will be able to create pressure with their linebackers.
Okay.
That to me, shooting Quincy Williams right up through the middle. Jamie and Sherwood, right? These guys have speed. These guys play hard. They play fast. I think that we could see some to just be honest, I think we need to create pressure. We know Rodgers is older. We know he's dealt with injuries. We know he hasn't really had a full season healthy. Yeah, he played every game for us last season, but he was hobbling around.
Yeah.
The injuries were excuses in the middle of the season. Calf, ankle, hamstring. Like there's just been, just a lot of, I guess maybe just nagging things. In other words, I don't foresee Rodgers running around like Josh Allen. I don't see him extending plays like he used to do in Green Bay. I think if we can create that pressure, and it doesn't, take a genius to say this, but
is it created by the defensive line or is it created by the blitzing? Do you think the front by itself can generate that and stop the run, or they're going to need help?
Well, to stop the run, I think is a different story. I think the bigger, it's tough, dude, because Pittsburgh, no more Najee Harris. They're bringing in Johnson from Iowa. And I think they're probably going, I don't think it's going to be as run centric as it was last season, but you still feel like Arthur Smith is just, he's a run first guy. He loves to run the ball. His offense is built around running the ball. I know they traded for DK Metcalf. I know they signed Aaron Rodgers, but I just feel like this team is not going to go into full pass mode. So of course, stopping the run is going to be first priority on first and second down. But on those third downs, if Rodgers is just dropping back, no problem at all. I think there is a chance that he could dice New York up. But if we're sending blitzes, right, maybe corner blitz off the weak side, again, Quincy Williams or Jamie Sherwood, A-gap blitzes, where we can really get in the backfield, I think that if we can affect Rodgers early on, I think we will be in pretty good hands. We've seen we know it, right? As Jets fans.
We've seen it, yeah.
When he starts getting knocked around or he gets, he doesn't even have to get sacked. Yeah, maybe the throws rush.
Just
he has to dump the ball or dirt it.
Yep.
Like he's looking around at the sidelines, pissed. He's looking at his teammates, pissed. I think if you could get Rodgers irritated like that within the first, half, or within the first two drives of the Jets defense, or within the first two offensive drives from Pittsburgh, I think if you can kind of, just get a little aggressive with him, again, whether that's sacks, pressures, getting him off his drop, right, getting off rhythm, I think that's a win, which will only bode well as the game continues. But yeah, first and foremost, you got to stop the run. But to answer your question, I feel great about the Jets defensive line. The starters, I do have a bit of a question with Jermaine Johnson's Achilles. How explosive is this guy really going to look? But it's really the depth behind it. So like as the game goes on, when different packages start lining up, you just kind of hope as a Jet fan that, hey, you know what, Michael Clemens did have a good camp. Like we got to see it,
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think in terms of like the blitz package, I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Carter II comes out too. I think Michael Carter could be like an X factor in this defense where he's coming out of blitzing at all kinds of different directions. Maybe you're blitzing Cisco, Malachi Moore, whoever it is. Now, the interesting thing is, I agree with you, but I had this funny thing they're going to pass the ball too. I think they realize the Jets are going to stop the run. But the X factor for me isn't DK Metcalf. It's Jonnu Smith and Freiermuth.
Right.
That's where the Jets historically, which we don't know under Wilkes and Aaron Glenn, have struggled against tight ends, struggled out of running back side of the backfield. That's just been their thing. But the Jets have speed at linebacker. They actually have some speed at safety too. So what is your concern, or what is your approach to stopping Jonnu Smith and Freiermuth?
Yeah, so it's funny you mentioned that because I have written down here actually that Tony Adams was going to be one of my X factors. I don't think I really don't think the Jets defense can afford, unless they're completely overwhelming with pass rush, winning one-on-one matchups, blitz calls are perfectly executed, and or Rodgers just looks flat out horrible, like he's looking like his age. But just kind of assuming, okay, Rodgers is the same player as last year, and the defensive line is just not dominant.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tony Adams is just crucial over the middle of the field. Fryermuth, Jonnu Smith, running backs out of the backfield.
Jalen Warren.
Yes, I think, if you take a look at Tony Adams last season, there are like, man, there's some head scratching moments, right? Like, why are you taking that angle to the football?
Mm-hmm.
And granted, it's a new defense with a new play caller. And, Tony Adams, a lot of the times, like lined up as like free safety under Saleh and Ulbrich. So now in this position where he is, potentially strong safety and has to like make plays up towards the line of scrimmage, fly downhill, be that kind of last line of defense in the running game and whatnot. I don't know. I think if he has a tough game, if guys are trucking him over, if he's not where he needs to be, if he's taking a poor angle to the football, that could really be exploited by, of course, the veteran quarterback here in Rodgers. And he knows Adams. He knows his play style and things like that. So that's one area of the defense. And on the surface, it sounds a little, how should I say this? Maybe like pessimistic, because it's, we have great corners and a really good defensive line and great linebackers. And I like Cisco at free safety. Let's just talk about the one weak spot on the defense. But whenever you have like just this like mental processor like Rodgers, where he's just so efficient with being able to break down a defense, again, if that pass rush is not getting home and we're not seeing a productive day, we're not seeing a good day from Tony Adams, I just feel like it could be a long day with, simple tight ends over the middle of the field, curl routes, hitches, simple stuff, gain of 5, gain of 6. And, in those moments, are you actually wrapping up and making the hit? Are you coming up and getting a pass defense, or are you blowing the tackle and now that tight end turns around and runs for another 6-7 yards? I think there could be a lot of that. It just really, to me, depends on, how maybe smooth Adams looks in this defense.
Yeah, and the one thing is, like you mentioned kind of earlier, I want to see this Jets defense be aggressive. Like, I don't want to see a conservative game plan, like a lot of zones and like giving up yards and getting Rodgers comfortable. Like, I want to see them attack. More importantly, like you mentioned earlier, like they have the element of surprise. We don't know what this Arthur Smith, Aaron Rodgers offense is, but once they start showing it, I want to see Wilkes and Aaron Glenn adjust much quicker than Saleh and Ulbrich ever did. Like it'd always be like at halftime or third quarter, you see changes. Like, no, like you can kind of decipher things pretty quickly, make those changes real time in the game and not find yourself in a big hole at halftime. And that's something that always frustrated me a lot. So I want to see him be aggressive. I think, now what is your, in terms of like your fear factor of the Steelers offense, what would you look at with DK Metcalf? You figure you have Sauce, you have, Brandon Stevens, everybody's at a really good camp, physical corners, big corners. To me, I think they match up well with DK Metcalf, to be honest with you. Now, I'm probably just being a little biased right now, but how much of a factor do you think he is in the scheme on Sunday?
Well, before we get to that, let's actually, if you want to break down the depth chart. The Jets released it. Well,
Sure.
The unofficial depth chart.
Yeah.
So it just came out. I don't know if you want to pull it up here or if you want to try to let me do it and I can like just share the screen.
If you want to, you can go for it.
Yeah, we could quickly break that down. I mean, I haven't taken a look at it yet or anything, but I'm, kind of makes you think like, okay, never mind. Maybe there is a little bit of a surprise here. So let's just share the screen real quick. Jets website. Are you seeing it on your end? Okay. So yeah, Olu, Simpson.
Yep.
No surprises there. But if you look in the middle, we have 2 centers.
Well, see, my feeling on that is twofold. They had the element of surprise there, like they're not going to show who's going to start. I'm also curious, even though Simpson's back in practice, there's been rumblings, a lot of rumblings in the media. Everybody's kind of hinting, but the Jets are doing a really good job of cutting down all the stories and leaks like that. That if Simpson's not where they want him to be, Myers starts, Tippmann goes to guard. So that's kind of, I think, their plan right now. It's not really saying it, but it's interesting though. And it's just, I mean, these kind of pulling it to the last minute. I mean, do you think friggin' Mike Tomlin sitting awake at night, like, oh my God, is it Tippmann or Myers? Like, what are we going to do? They're both all pro centers. Like, I mean, whatever, dude. But I think that's probably a thing that we got to keep an eye on as the week plays out.
What about this one right here?
That's got to be because of the blocking, dude. Because it's got to be you're trying to, I guess, continue to motivate Mason Taylor and make him earn the spot. You're giving Jeremy Rucker for having a physical camp, I guess, at this point, and give him the benefit of doubt. Maybe give him some confidence, and maybe it's his run blocking because it's not his catching. There's no way it's his catching.
Yeah, I mean, this to me is just kind of like
it's ridiculous.
You know, on passing down or on passing plays, passing concepts, Mason Taylor is going to be, I would say, the primary. But on run centric plays, you'd probably lean towards Jeremy Ruckert. I guess it's not like Ruckert is dominant at blocking.
No.
Quite frankly, if we look at all four of these guys, not one is like a dominant blocker. So, 4 tight ends. We'll see how rolling with this unit goes. I don't really think the Jets have done this before, where we're running 5 at wideout. Because I mean, if we take a look at that, Lazard, Reynolds, and then Garrett are the first stringers. Arian Smith behind Garrett. One thing I was going to ask you about a little later on in the show, but I figured I'd ask you now. Connor Hughes reported that Garrett Wilson is going to be the primary slot wide receiver for this team. Mm-hmm. So it does make sense to have, Arian behind him.
Yep.
And then, you have Lazard and Josh as your 2 starting wideouts on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we take a look at Garrett's skill set, lining him up in the slot actually does make sense because not only are you maximizing his strengths, you have the ability to separate his route running, really putting him in positions where he might not be going up against the number 1 corner.
Yeah.
And also, if you're lining Garrett up on the sideline, you're farther away from the football, like physically, like you're physically farther away. And we all know Justin has had a difficult time in the past, maybe processing defenses, getting the football out quickly. So if Garrett's lining up closer to the football, in other words, closer to the quarterback, maybe the ball comes out a little quicker. And also, Garrett doesn't have the imaginary defender, which is the boundary. If he's lining up in the slot, he can go left, he can go right. He kind of has this whole open field of space to go work his separation skills. So I really like that. And also the point here, bringing up Lazard and Reynolds, everyone continues to talk, and by everyone I mean the coaching staff, they keep talking about the blocking from these guys. So if Garrett's going to be taking up one of the boundary slots, you're essentially taking away one of the better blockers on the team. But now you have the best pass catcher with all those benefits that we just listed, but you're also maximizing the run blocking abilities of both Reynolds and Lazard on the boundary. And it's not this one-dimensional thing where, okay, Lazard comes in, okay, Avi's handoff.
Yeah, no, like this is Tanner Engstrand actually maximizing Garrett Wilson's potential, making him a true focal point of the offense where you can do all kinds of different things with him and keep the defense off balance with it, which is fine. In terms of the outside receivers, it's like, all right, Josh Reynolds, you feel comfortable with. Alan Lazard, not so much. But you figured they can line Breece Hall out there. They can line Mason Taylor out there. Think about Stone Smart out there. There's a lot of different things they could do with that. We'll see. Like, it's great to talk about blocking until guys can't catch the effing football. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they're all great blockers. Yeah, they're dropping passes left and right. So what do you want to see? Catching footballs or blocking? What's more important to you as a receiver? So in theory, it sounds great, but they got to prove they can be consistent because that'll stifle your offense in a heartbeat. So I understand it. I understand the ground and pound. I understand all the principles, but at some point they got to catch the football, especially Alan Lazard. But it also, one more thing I want to break up too is the roster composition is weird to me when you have 4 tight ends and a fullback. That's a lot of dudes, man, where it's not, that's where I'd want that extra wide receiver. Like we talked about this in the roster cutdowns where we want to see it. In terms of building it, I mean, it's just odd to me, dude, in a game that you want to stretch the field and you want these, skill players to stack up that way is just almost like overkill to me.
Yeah. And what's interesting is if you look at the backup or the second team wide receivers, you have Arian Smith behind Garrett. You have Arian Smith behind Josh Reynolds, and then you have Xavier Gibson behind Lazard. So, yeah, not much size at the position because Garrett, Arian, and Xavier aren't really, that physically imposing. So you got Lazard at 6'4", 6'5", and then Josh Reynolds is obviously, a taller target, but
maybe they call Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, that's a good point. But, then, and by the way, this is just unofficial. Like the Jets don't necessarily have to follow this clearly because they're rolling out 2 centers with this lineup. But, that's just the offense. Let's take a look at the defense quickly. So yeah, no surprises whatsoever.
The
With the starting
safeties are
lineup.
who are the safeties? They got
Yeah, Tony Adams and Cisco.
Yep. And then I'm telling you, I think they're going to find the role for Malachi Moore in like blitz packages. And I think Michael Carter too. Yeah, there's no surprise. And the backups, and this we look at the edge backups. Michael Clemens, oof.
Yeah,
Michael Clemens and Tyler Barron. Not exactly encouraging there, man. That's they better hope they step it up in that aspect.
I honestly thought Tyler Barron looked okay in the preseason. But one thing that we do have to keep in mind too is special teams. You know, I think if you're scanning the second stringers here, there is a lot of I would say impressive or we've seen impressive special team performances so far through the preseason. So yeah, I mean, it seems like they are set, right? This is what our wide receivers are going to look like. We want this amount of tight ends and just deal with it.
Yep. No, it's gonna be interesting, man. Like I said, it's a work in progress. It all sounds good now until they actually go on the field and play. You know.
Yeah. Also, what's interesting is 5 linebackers.
Yeah.
You know, 5 linebackers here. Yeah.
Trust the process, man.
Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, to go back to what you were saying about DK,
Like if you look at like the keys of the game on defense to stop the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think it's rattle Rodgers, beat him up. Like I literally want to beat his ass, dude. I want to see him battered, bruised, sitting on the sideline with a towel over his head, like we've seen for the last 2 years, frustrated, pointing at his receivers, pointing out. I want to see that fluster Rodgers. That alienates his entire team. That's what I want to see. So you figure that's got to be key one. Then it's going to be, to me, the running game. I think is going to be there. To me, I'm more concerned about the tight ends at DK Metcalf and the running game. Am I crazy?
It's tough because I really liked Caleb Johnson back at Iowa. Like he was a very, very, very good runner, a very effective runner. In regards to DK specifically, you got to imagine Gardner's just going to follow him, right?
Yep.
I mean, he just got number one highest paid corner in football. I don't want to see someone like that in this style of defense just sit on one side of the field, especially, by the way, if you look at the rest of the Steelers wide receiver depth chart, is anyone really striking fear?
Nope.
Boom. Like you got a game plan for this guy. No, not really. It's just DK. So because of that, you know, and we do know that Rodgers likes to prioritize certain guys. So I want Gardner following that, like bottom line.
Well, no, 100%. I'm with everybody on this. Let him travel. He wants to travel. Glenn said he wants to use him in every position he can. So go for it here. This is a chance to do it. So overall, your level of confidence, the Jets defense against the Steelers, do you think it's you have confidence? You think you overmatch in certain areas? Like, what's your biggest concern?
Biggest concern for the game is, I would say, you know, it's tough because we actually haven't seen, like, because on the surface, you can look at the roster and say, okay, pass catchers for Justin Fields. That's my biggest concern. Joey Porter, Jalen Ramsey. Yep. The freaking Steelers have just beasts in the defensive backfield, right? So it's like, okay, Joey Porter going up against like Allen Lazard, you have a good idea on who's going to win that matchup. So it's easy to say that, but I just saw this comment in the chat. Let me try to scroll back. Yeah, Armand, we're going to see boring run heavy football based on the step chart. So that's the thing, right? Is wide receiver going to be that big of a concern if they're only going to look that way 3 times a game?
Yeah.
You know, so I think I would probably say the biggest X factor for me is getting after Rodgers.
Yep. I completely agree.
Because if he's out there slinging it and he has time to throw, he's going to find the open guy. He just is. But if he is being rushed, if he's getting frustrated, if he starts getting pissed off within the locker room, and you know, we know Mike Tomlin is not this guy that's just going to sit around and kind of like, okay, Rodgers, do whatever you want, like Ulbrich and Salo last season at Hackett. Could there potentially be a headbutting there? I mean, I'm getting too far ahead of myself here, but you know, it just like that to me is very, very important. Like you got to get after like he has to be picking himself up off of the turf. And again, it doesn't all, I'm not saying unrealistically, oh yeah, we need 3 sacks in the first half, but realistically, can we get him off of his drop, 5-step drop? But now all of a sudden, because maybe we won a one-on-one matchup, Quinnen beat an interior offensive lineman and he's providing pressure up the middle, does Rodgers now have to bolt to the right, bolt to the left? In a, maybe a play action, if you have Will McDonald beat Broderick Jones to the outside and now Rodgers has to climb the pocket really quickly, you're rushing, you're screwing up the rhythm. Now it's not to say that the play's over or anything, but those types of things, when those things would happen with the Jets last season, it was pretty obvious that he would get very upset. And and it's not to say that Rodgers only made mistakes when everyone else let him down. I mean, he missed tons of throws last season. Mike Williams, Garrett Wilson. That Minnesota Vikings game was a complete disaster over in England. Like that Van Ginkel pick where he's showing pressure and he just drops back and he just throws it right through him. Like that. I don't want to make football, make it sound like anyone could have read that, but that's, for a guy in Rodgers, for someone in his position, like that's something that you'd think that he would be able to just pick up immediately. But granted, credit Brian Flores and whatnot. Anyway, point is, I think we got to get him. That's the number one X factor. If we are at halftime and we have not touched Rodgers, he's not being pressured whatsoever. We're sitting back as fans. The announcers are talking about, oh yeah, he has all day to throw. Where's the Jets pass rush? It's not really there. I don't think we're gonna.
So that's why, and that to me, it's like it has to start the first whistle with the Jet defense. The first whistle, you've got to come out physical, fast, aggressive, and be like, we're not getting pushed around. We're gonna smack you in the face. First play, second play, the first series, like come out and establish that. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm like, this is where you play that physical style. We're like, all right, we got to adjust this. We're not used to the speed and these blitzes coming from all over the place. Now, the other side of the ball, it gets really, really interesting because the Jets offense for everybody is a concern because there's so many unknowns. We don't know what the offense is. We don't really know what Justin Fields is. We know what he hopes he is. And it starts with the offensive line. Now, we just talked about it. They have 2 centers. Again, I think that really kind of is what's going on with John Simpson. I know he's back in practice. Is he fully healthy? But assuming he's healthy, let's go with that. Tippin, I'm assuming Tippin's going to start. Simpson's there. The offensive line is quality, but you have Membu on the right who could struggle as a rookie, which is fine. Not discounting his talent. It's his first NFL game against a very good Steeler defense that is nasty and explosive. And you have TJ Watt just on the prowl. To me, I think he needs help. He may need a lot of help. And I don't want to see the Jets be arrogant about that. Like, how do you like that matchup with the Steelers front against the Jets front, which they have confidence in? But, dude, this is a ridiculously tough test week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this, like in this style of system, like in Tomlin's defense, so much responsibilities on the 3 down linemen. The Cam Haywards of the world. And right now, Pittsburgh has a couple of question marks there. Right. Derek Harmon has been beat up. He's questionable for the game. Cam Hayward, I believe, has been holding out. He's been skipping all these practices. And then Keanu Benton, he's looking like he should be playing, but also technically right now listed as questionable, and he was beat up as well. So, if you're looking at the 3 starters, all 3 starters have something going on. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but I do find it interesting that, hey, we're looking at what Simpson did last season. We're looking at what ABT did last season. When it comes to blocking, Joe Tippmann did a pretty damn good job. If we want to run the ball and we have 3 really effective interior offensive linemen at run blocking with our really good running backs, and the main focal point of stopping the run for that Pittsburgh Steelers defense is just a little beat up, might be a little rusty, that could be just a straight advantage that we can look into, right? If we're getting 4, 5, 6 yards per rush, and we're keeping Rodgers on the sidelines, that to me, I also think is a bit of a formula for success. But to answer your question about Watt.
Yeah, but I have a question now before we go to Watt. Now, the approach to me is the Jets have talked about running the football. They know it. Everybody knows it. The Steelers know it. A part of me thinks they pass to set up the run, where everybody's expecting to come out ground and pound, Breece Hall here, and they come out throwing the ball. Mason Taylor, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, to kind of get the Steelers kind of on their toes, with backing off a little bit. Like, listen, we're stacking the box. They're not freaking running the football. They're throwing it. Do you think the Jets come out with that kind of like curveball where they throw it to set up the run, or they say, listen, here we come, smash mouth, stop it if you can, and we're going to just force it down your throats? How do you think they handle it? For some reason, I think they're throwing the ball, dude. I don't know why I think that, but I think they do.
It's a good question, dude. It's actually a really good. I think Tomlin actually addressed it like, oh yeah, you know that they want to run the ball, so that's where the focus is. In his most recent press conference, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, there's really only two things that you can do: you could throw it or you could run it.
Yep.
You could have your quarterback run it as well.
But throwing it would actually help Justin Fields get him comfortable. Quick, easy throws, breeze out of backfield. Makes it's like get him comfortable in the offense there. Then do your ground and pound. My fear is you go run, third and long pass. Then we've seen that before too.
Yes, I do think it's smart because you know we still have a week to go, or you know I guess now less than a week to go, but we've been playing Pittsburgh for a long time. You know, Tanner Ringstrand has known, okay, I want to, you know, we're playing Pittsburgh here. Mm-hmm. If the plan of attack is, you know what, let's come out and throw the ball.
Yep.
We've had weeks. We've had tons of practices where you can really get in a groove on what you want to call early in games.
Scripted.
Get the offense, you know, accustomed to maybe what your game, you know, what the game plan is going to be. Now, obviously, you're not going to roll out the same exact game plan for every single defense that you play because the defenses are constantly changing, scheme players, coaches, and whatnot. But, you know, again, we know Pittsburgh has been on our schedule for week one. So we've had time to, you know, really exploit in the late hours of the night. Is Tanner Ringstrand maybe popping on the Steelers film, you know, before he goes to bed? Like, hey, let me just get an hour, just kind of see where potential weak spots could lie, where are their strengths, maybe what are some of the areas to avoid, what can we exploit? You know, this is not like a week 6 matchup against,
of course,
you know, whoever, where it's like, okay, you hit the ground running immediately after that game. You're starting to prepare, right? Of course, you recap what just happened week 5, but it's on to the next game. We've had weeks to prepare. So if they do want to come out throwing, I'm cool with it early on. Like I think it would be really, really cool if they came out for one drive, throwing, having success, right? But if they come out for a second drive and do that some more and they have some success, now you've really put Pittsburgh in a bind, because then you shift into running the ball. Despite both drives going well, passing the ball, you shift into running, and now Pittsburgh is just like, okay, you know, we can't fully commit to the ground game because we've been burned 2 straight drives with throwing the ball. So yeah, we've been game planning for you know, the rushing attack here, so try to lean into that. But can we really lean into it fully? Because Fields has been, you know, completing a bunch of passes. So yeah, I think it's a really good, really interesting point. And I also think with you know, with how the Steelers play defense, they blitz a lot. And Garrett Wilson is one of the best receivers against the blitz. I think probably because he's
the best way to offset it with a quick passing game.
Right. And if he's lining up in the slot, you know, you could take advantage of the middle of the field. But of course, the counter to that is the Pittsburgh linebacker crew. And they have a really good unit. Patrick Queen is one of the best in the league. Yeah. Of course, you know, you have to look at Elliott at safety. I mean, Pittsburgh's the top defense. And, you know, ultimately, like, this is the NFL. If you know, if you want to win games, you have to be good teams. You have to be good units. So, you know, Tanner Ringstrand, show us why you were the choice at offensive coordinator.
Yeah, don't be like, and that's like, I'm similar on both sides of the ball. And this is just my mind says, I want to be aggressive. You talk about being aggressive, be aggressive. We talked about blitzing Rodgers being aggressive there. On offense, don't be so freaking conservative where literally it's like run. And like, listen, I know you want to establish it, but if you're not running successfully, don't stick to it. Don't be scared to throw the ball. Don't be scared to use Justin Fields. Like, use all your weapons that you possibly have to win the friggin' football game. Don't be scared to lose. I guess kind of what I'm saying. So you look at, you know, I would maybe consider passing to start it off to get Fields comfortable, get them off balance, set up all the kinds of different things. But then the TJ Watt factor is real. He's one of the best players in the NFL. How do you handle him? Like, what do you do to slow him down?
Well, edge is one of those positions where, well, so first of all, like, you look at the Steelers defense, like Watt is really good against the run. Watt can also drop into coverage. Like he's
Mhm.
athletic enough to do that.
Yep.
So in formations where Garrett is maybe lined up right on the outside, do you have an Andrew Van Ginkel moment where you're dropping Watt back into coverage, where Fields is thinking, okay, Watt, obvious
Yep.
piece, he's going up against rookie, he's coming at me. By the time I get to that side of the field and I'm throwing the ball, it's like, oh, wait a second. No, Watt is 6 yards,
Yeah.
in coverage. Now he's not even near me. So you got to, I mean, there's only a handful of players that can impact the game like TJ Watt in the league. There's only so much that you can do. I mean, you can obviously chip him with running backs out of the flat. You can run the opposite way. You can run inside to the left because Watt primarily lines up on the right side. We don't really see him moving around like a Micah Parsons. So there are things that you can do to somewhat neutralize getting the ball out quickly. But one thing that's really, really cool, man, and something that I feel like it's not really going to fully hit us until we're watching the game on Sunday. Justin Fields is a completely different animal when it comes to body type and mobility than anything that we've seen, I want to say, in the last 10 years. Just because someone's in the backfield does not mean the play's over. I mean, how many plays?
Yep.
Back with Chicago, offensive line falls apart, free blitzer. He gets just, smashed. He doesn't go down.
Yeah.
Does the half spin out of it, picks up 8 yards on his, on the ground, drops back. Offensive line crumbles, right? The tackles start to cave in. He just says, you know what, screw the passing concept, the passing plays. I'm tucking it and I'm just booking it upfield for 10 to 20 yards just on the ground. I think, you can have a lot of success with that with Justin. Like, because if you think back, dude, Zach Wilson, the biggest dude in the world. Yeah, he was elusive.
Yeah.
But if you have a free blitzer and he gets his hands on Zach, like he's probably going to go down. We all know what happened with Rodgers. But I mean, even like the other guys kind of just throughout the years, Josh McCown's going to go down easy. Bryce Petty's going to go down pretty easy. Take your pick. Mike White, he's a bigger dude, but is he really going to be?
Fields is a tank.
Yeah, Fields, there are moments like he's a top 5 running quarterback in football. He is in that top 5 for a reason because he can elude and he's powerful enough to keep the legs moving. He's not just this, ragdoll back there where he's just gonna, get contact and just go flying or just, I'm scared of contact and dirt the ball, throw it away, get down real quick. Like this, I think there's going to be a lot of downs, a lot of moments where we're going to see maybe an offensive line get beat and Fields recognizes it and just keeps it moving and just, hey, I know I have to go through my reads here, but I'm not doing it.
Yep.
We had a bust through the offensive line. I'm taking this thing up for 6 yards, which, I mean, in theory is good because it keeps the clock moving. It's a positive play. You're eliminating a turnover, eliminating a chance of a turnover. You're essentially resting the defense, and it's still a positive play moving forward. You're not taking this sack. Like the difference between, like, say for example, like 2nd and 7, Jets hand the ball off 3 yards on first down, right? So 2nd and 7, you want to drop back and throw, right? 3 to 5 step drop back. That quarterback gets sacked. Now it's 3rd and 13, 3rd and 12.
Yep.
If Fields has the ability to move up the field and get a quick pickup of 3, now it's 3rd and 4. Like the difference between 3rd and 12 and 3rd and 4 is just monumental in the mind of an offensive coordinator, what you can do. And if you're constantly living in that, 3rd and, I don't want to get too greedy. So like 3rd and 6 and short, that is manageable. Like how many realistic plays does an NFL offensive coordinator have in 3rd and 11 plus? Like how many, like you don't have like just pages upon pages of plays that you can, actually practice throughout the week. It's slim. You see the most mistakes happening in football, like across the board, high school, college, NFL, 3rd and long. There's pressure. Okay, we got to, get this big chunk of yards.
Interceptions, yep.
Turnover rate spike, sack spike, incompletion spike. You don't really see these massive, these scoring plays on, and ruling out like Hail Marys. And, of course it does happen from time to time, but just if you take all three phases of football, high school, college, NFL, a lot of third and longs equate to, a pretty high probability of punting the ball on the next down. So, defensively, how do we force the opposing offense into third and longs? Stopping the run, of course, early. And then offensively, how do we limit our third and long situations?
Well, how do you like? I completely agree with you. Justin Fields' legs are a complete X factor, which I think everybody realizes RPOs and broken plays and everything else. But how do you like our matchups in terms of our pass catchers against the Steelers secondary or the Steelers linebacker? Like for the Jets, I'm like, you know what? You look at Jonnu Smith and Freiermuth, like, we're with DK Metcalf, we're about that. Reverse it, Garrett Wilson, okay. That's going to be a focal point for the Steelers defense, obviously. After that, like what's a matchup we can take care of, take advantage of it? Is it Mason Taylor? Is it Breece out of the backfield? Like that's where I start getting nervous, where it's like you really got to rely on creativity and the accuracy of Justin Fields to not force it, but complete passes. And who's going to be that guy? Is it Josh Reynolds? Like that's where Jalen Ramsey's not the same old Jalen Ramsey, but he's still a damn good player. So like, what do you look to take advantage of?
Well, I think again, you make a really good point, but the defense is really good. Like there's, we're not playing a bottom 3, bottom 5, really bottom 15 defense. Like this is one of the premier defense, like fantasy drafts, right? You start looking at defenses. Steelers number 1, Steelers top 5, Steelers top 5. It's in like it's well known. They have stars. They're well coached. It's a veteran unit, time tested as well. I think.
So if you're Engstrand, how do you do it, man? Tell me how you're scheming these guys open. Like who would be your focal point of your offense after Garrett Wilson?
I think honestly, dude, the death by 1,000 cuts approach could very well work in this game. Again, we talked about the Steelers defensive line maybe questionable. If you have the Jets offensive line, and granted Simpson's been banged up, so it's not perfect, but if we have our offensive line just mauling the Steelers defensive line, and that's something that doesn't really happen, dude. Pittsburgh does not get pushed around, but if you can just sustain drives, 9, 10, 11, 12-minute drives, you're shortening the game. You're resting your own defense. You're keeping Rodgers and co. on the sidelines. Not saying that Rodgers is Patrick Mahomes or anything, right? Obviously not, but the whole purpose here, the Jets are probably not going to be scoring 40 points, probably not going to be scoring 30 plus points. So if we're keeping the clock going, if we're resting our defense, if we're forcing Pittsburgh to tackle, beating them down, wearing them down.
Are you thinking like a dink and dunk though? Like you're talking like a dink and dunk offense?
No,
like,
I'm talking about running dink and dunk, check downs, screens.
I'm saying like you're looking like the 5-yard pass, the 6-yard pass, maybe every once in a while take a deep shot to Aaron Smith, but basically it's just like a slow, methodical drive to time of possession, wear them down by the third quarter, they're tired, like that kind of approach.
Yeah, like if you run the ball and it's a gain of 3, don't look at it like, oh my God, only 3 yards. No, now we just need another 3 yards to get into 3rd and 4. And that's where we want to live, those 3rd and shorts.
Yeah.
Because when you're in 3rd and shorts and you're the Jets, even though they don't have many pass catching, elite options, you have a lot of things to worry about because the running backs are very talented. You can do halfback draws in 3rd and 4s. You have Justin Fields' legs to worry about. You have Garrett Wilson, obviously. You have Mason Taylor. Just everything opens up. You can go left. You can go right. You can go deep. You can go short, intermediate, run, left, right, outside, inside. Justin Fields scrambling, running around.
Put both running backs in the backfield together, Braylon and Breece at the same time. That's an X factor right there, dude. Because obviously because like Breece can run out, Braylon can run, they can both catch the ball. That's where you can kind of create a lot of mismatches too. I worry about wide receivers getting separation, so you got to be really clever and creative. You know what I mean? And maybe Mason Taylor pops out too.
Yeah, Ryder makes a really good point. Scoring on long drives is very demoralizing for a defense. Yeah, and then what's even more demoralizing to that point is if your defense steps up. You go out and get an interception. You go out and get a freaking sack on 2nd and 10. Now they're backed up 3rd and 17, incomplete. Now they have to punt, right? A 3 and out. Or maybe it's just a quick 6-play drive. Now you have to punt the ball back to that offense that just went right down your throat, run the ball. And the defense is now tasked to stop it again. And if they can't stop it again, that becomes really, really favorable in the Jets, from the Jets perspective. So I think for me, utilize first down, utilize second down to do your best to try to get into third and shorts. And from that point, it's just all about execution. You get every offensive coordinator has, a handful of plays that they love on third and shorts, but that's something that's just like it's key moments, right? We talk about it in wins, we talk about it in losses.
Yeah.
Oh, one team goes 6 of 8 on third downs. Yeah, that's pretty damn good, right? Like that's a pretty high third down conversion rate. Oh, the other team, the Jets, went 2 for 11 on third downs. Yeah, that's a lot of clock stoppages. That's a lot of punts. A lot of drives that the defense now has to go back out on the field. So yeah, what's the best way to convert on those money downs, those third downs? It's making sure, percentage wise, to getting those third and shorts to where everything opens up. Now the defense is like, okay, how they almost have to play perfectly, assuming no drops, no crappy throws,
stupid
no
penalties,
assignments or anything like that. So that of course is the big if, but also why football's amazing.
The Knicks realist. Hey, I love your guys' content for the Jets. Been watching y'all and Ian a while. Thank you for the mental health videos. They touch my heart. Thank you so much, bro. That's very generous of you. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you for watching too, man. We're going back and forth each week on different channels. So thank you, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, you gotta keep doing those mental health videos, man. I love those.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I just made one. Funny you say that. So that'll probably go out tonight or tomorrow morning. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so in terms of the offense, it's going to be interesting. Like, again, you want to see adjustments. There's so many things that are going to happen in game. I'm sure I'll be texting like crazy, going nuts, but like, it's just, there's a lot of unknowns. I just want to see him be aggressive. Don't self-destruct. Don't beat yourself. Like you talked about turnovers, drop passes, bad penalties. Like, I think you weather the early storm as you try to find your way as a new team, a new scheme, a new everything. Like the first quarter could be a little sloppy just because they're just doing it for the first time real action, but just don't make it where you're down 10-0 before you blink. You know what I mean? Just keep it together. And then second quarter, you get more comfortable. And then the second half, you roll with it. If you had to say like two players, go ahead.
Quickly to that point, that's a bit of a concern for me with coming out throwing. Because if the MO, the identity of the team is going to be running the football and you try to one-up or maybe outsmart Pittsburgh, we're going to throw the ball on them early and it doesn't go well. And we punt it back, and now they're up 7-0. Then they're up 10-0. And where do you pivot? Do you go back to do you go to the run game?
Bro, we just talked about this. Scores? They had the entire offseason to script the plays and master them. If you can't complete friggin' little easy passes to start off a game, we got bigger problems. Seriously, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not going to be scared. I'm not playing scared. I can't. Because they know what we want to do. And I understand it. A lot of people in the chat, like, run the ball, smash mouth, everything else. They know the same thing. They know that's what happened. The element of surprise is real because they don't know what the hell to expect at Justin Fields. More importantly, I want to get Justin Fields comfortable, dude. Complete some passes. His first game as a Jet, home opener. Crowd's going to be nuts. All kinds of anticipation and nerves. Get him settled. Spread him out. Get Garrett involved. So everybody's kind of involved. Then you do your smash mouth approach.
Did you watch the Florida State Bama game at all?
I know you did because I got the text message. We had to bring it up. We're not talking about Notre Dame either. No Notre Dame conversations tonight whatsoever. Nothing.
Well,
nope.
So first of all, you sent me. I'm sitting here taking the high road. You sent me the Bama picture, whatever, during the game.
I did,
and I'm like, all right, bro. I'll remember this when the Irish are on because I knew Miami was going to come out swinging.
They did.
By the way, it's funny. Remember doing streams? What was it last year about talking about Carson Beck? Looks pretty good.
He looks all right. I mean, he's not.
Give him props. Give him. If that was against any other team at Notre Dame, you would.
Bro, he had 2 floaters that got away with. He got bailed out. The one touchdown was a friggin' miracle that he got. That should be an interception. He floated that thing. He had like 2 floaters that he got lucky with. He looked better, but I'm not saying he's not my number 1 pick in the draft. Like, he's all right.
Yeah. I don't think Beck is the number 1 pick in the draft. But I think he's a lot better than what people made it out to be.
Yeah, I mean, no, congrats to Florida State, dude. That was an impressive ass victory, dude. The roughing the passer was a brutal penalty, though. They had Alabama came all the way back, they blew it themselves. It was just like, come on, like
Yeah, and I didn't mean to just change the subject to talk about college, but Tommy Castellanos, the way he was running the football
Yeah,
was awesome. You know,
it
it
was.
wasn't these long, crazy highlights as it plays. It was, if that guy wasn't there, he would just book it and pick up 4 yards,
Yep,
pick up a
that was
quick six
impressive.
yards, or just hit the, A or B gap just immediately, quarterback draw style, or, fake a reverse or fake an end around, take it himself right up the middle, gain of 7, gain of 8. And I'm not saying like Fields is, you know,
But
turning into like I don't necessarily want Fields to be like this wildcat quarterback type, but I really don't want to look at Fields and say like, oh yeah, like he can run and he's going to run. Like I want Tanner Exner to be like, you are an absolute stud at running the football. We are making this a priority in the offense. Like we want to highlight that. Chicago, Pittsburgh, like they're trying to, kind of change you as a player a little bit. Their coaching staffs. We want to say, okay, who's Justin Fields? Okay, let's make sure that that version is having success. And at the end of the day, man, Fields is a dynamic runner. I think Dylan just made a really good point before. There's an argument to be made that Fields is only second to Lamar in terms of a runner. Allen, Hurts is just a load, bro. Like when he gets moving north and south, so tough to bring down. Jaden Daniels is elusive.
small.
Yeah, Kyler Murray is just quick as hell, dude. He just looks like a basketball point guard, just putting defenders on skates, running around with a football like up in the air. But Josh Allen just has insane elusiveness, ability to read the field. Like he just knows exactly when to slide. If he wants to truck someone over, he can truck someone over because of the size. He has the athletic ability to like hurdle someone. Yeah, there's a lot of good running quarterbacks, but Justin Fields, I know it sounds weird to say it because Josh is a top guy, Lamar is a top guy, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, like these are all 100% franchise quarterbacks. Justin Fields, still a big question mark there, but when you purely look at runner at the quarterback position, Justin Field is freaking dominant. And I want the Jets to highlight that. I don't want him running 3 times a game. I want it cranked up.
Yeah, and the other thing too is going back to Florida State real quick. Is the offensive line. They played so physical, man. They pushed Alabama around, which supplies a lot of people. That's what you want to see the Jets do on Sunday as well. Like be physical, man. Like just push them around, be stout, be nasty, have that edge to create those holes. Like blocking downfield. You saw guys, 5 yards downfield blocking, tight ends, running backs. Everybody was like, that's what you want to see. So, it's going to be fascinating to see how Justin Fields plays, how Engstrand uses him, the adjustments both teams make throughout it as they figure out what each other's one's doing, who's hot, who's not. Like, so if you had to say 2 guys that had to have incredible games for the Jets to win, one on offense, one on defense, who would it be?
Incredible games?
Incredible. Like game, like they're the difference maker of winning the game. One on offense and one on defense.
I mean, I think the Jets could win. Like incredible game. I don't know. Personally, I don't like the terminology. Like, for example, like I think Tony Adams is an X factor on defense because that's someone that you just feel like Rodgers, Arthur Smith. Hey, we can try to put this guy on an island, try to isolate him, and take advantage here. Because he knows the defense, man. He's been around Q, he's been around Quincy, he's been around Gardner and Michael Carter and stuff. He's practiced against these guys. And I don't want it to, sound super pessimistic to Tony Adams, like he's some horrible player. But I think if you just look at, hey, starters on paper, where's the weak, the weak spot? I think you'd probably look to that safety position. So if he can roll out and he's taking good angles to the football, he's wrapping up an open space, he's bringing guys down to the ground and stopping the play where it's at. I'm not asking for 3-4 passes defended against. I'm not asking for, 12, 13, 14 tackles or anything at the safety position. So like I was saying, like incredible game. From the stat sheet, I don't think he needs to be incredible, but I think, the eye test is huge for Tony Adams, right? Maybe being in a route lane that Rodgers, maybe he doesn't think he's going to be there, but he is because of the coaching. Because Adams just coming up and making a play, and Rodgers is like, oh, I was dead, in his mind, I'm dead set. I'm throwing it there. Wait, now I can't. Now I got to go to my check down. Gain of 2. That play does not show up on the stat sheet. So I think and we'll be able to pick up on that pretty easily watching the game. So yeah, Tony Adams on defense. And then I think for me, I mean, it's easy to say if Armand Membu can hold up against Watt, like that would be absolutely tremendous. But I think it's a little too much to put on his plate early on to be like, go out and dominate TJ Watt.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Although, bro, Jets fans would be buzzing if that happens. Like PFF dropped like the graphic, like Watt, 0 quarterback pressure, 0 sacks, and they
Rookie
just, like,
of the year. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I guess Fields maybe sounds too obvious too. I think Garrett Wilson, man. I think Garrett's gonna have a big day.
I think so too. I'm in the same boat. I think that in order for the Jets to win, they have to pass the ball. I think they're going to find ways to utilize Garrett that he hasn't been used before with this team. And I'm with you. I think it's either Garrett or maybe I may want to say Breece, but Breece as a pass catcher and not as a running back. I think it's going to be more the big impact guys going to be ones receiving the ball. On defense, I kind of agree with Matt. I think Sauce is going to have a huge game. For some reason, I just think Sauce. I really do. And I agree with you about Tony Adams. My concern is definitely the safety position there. I think Rodgers will probably attack that. But I think Sauce has a monster game just to bring his game back to the level that we all expect, all pro level, physical, really match up tough with DK Metcalf, take care of Rodgers, his guy he's probably going to force the ball to will be Metcalf. Take that away from him, force him to go to tight ends, force him to go to running backs, force him to go to guys that aren't as the same caliber of the other, your most talented player. So it's going to be interesting, man. Like I can't wait for this game. This is a game it's weird because you get asked all the time, this is a winnable game. I think it is. And it's not disrespecting the Steelers. I think there's a blueprint for the Jets to win this game if things go right and they're well coached and they're prepared and they don't self-destruct. I think there is. I'm not saying it's going to be 31-10 Jets, but I think they have an opportunity here to do some really good things.
Gardner has a really good body type to match up against DK. Yep. One thing I don't want to see is the classic Jets under Solid Ulbrich and Gase and Todd Bowles for that matter, where it's penalties and missed kicks and a muff punt. Then you have a turnover and it looks way worse.
Yep.
Because you've had all these, moments in the game where you just you're just giving it away, man. How are you in the red zone? 0 for 2, 0 for 4 in the red zone. Like that's going to kill you.
Special teams
third down conversion, right? We were talking about that before. Do the Jets go for it? I think that is a huge, maybe feather in the cap with bringing Justin Fields in as opposed to Rodgers at the helm, because if he's an effective tush push player and he could prove that, I want to say for a month to where it's just we line up for the tush push, boom, we're getting it in. We're getting, every single time. And it's just, he's converting. If that keeps happening, if that simple play converts over and over and over and over again, you now start preparing and defending against the Jets as a team that starts off every single game, every single drive, 1st and 9.
Yep. I agree.
And that's 1 yard, whatever. But 1 yard adds up a lot over the course of one game. It adds up a lot over the course of a season. If one team has to go 10 yards and you have to go 9 yards every single drive, that is a humongous benefit again over time. So, I think, by that logic, if my math's right here, one team needs to go 90 yards. One team needs to go 100 yards. So I think, my fear is just we'll have the roughing the passer on a 3rd and 8. We held it. Oh no, the late flag comes in from the ref, or we maybe get like a Nick Folk missed field goal or something like right before half, or we have a muffed kick or something. And just those things that's just like, God, if we could just eliminate the mistakes, we'd be in and winning a lot more games. But yeah, man, I think that's the whole area of football. I need the Jets to avoid.
No, 100%. This is, before we go back to the game, this is interesting. Did you see what Aaron Glenn said in his presser about what a successful season is? Interesting comment he made. Did you see it?
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
I think it was great. He said, I want a team I want the fans to be proud of my team. And if that is the case, that means we won a lot of games, or we're winning games, which is exactly what we talked about. Like, you want to see a nasty, physical, tough team that doesn't beat itself, plays quality football, fundamentally sound. So I love that comment, to be honest with you. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and if if you listen to Dan Campbell pressers, especially early on, sounds extremely, extremely similar.
Yep. So we broke down all this game, a lot of different aspects, over an hour previewing this game. What's you don't have to do your score prediction now, but what's your level of confidence going into this game? Are you on a scale of 1 to 10, where it's like, in terms of Jets finding a way to win this? Is it 6? Is it 7? Is it 5? Like, where do you stand right now?
I think the Jets can win the game. I am afraid of the stupid mistakes, though. I don't want to be making a recap video talking about, Fields played okay. Running game was okay. I felt like the coaches called a good game. The defense was, they came up in critical moments, but we should have hit that field goal, and we lost by 3. Oh, well. I'm going to be so upset if that's the case, man.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. Like, that's my biggest thing. It's like, I'm worried. My fear is the first quarter is just getting rid of all the nervousness and the newness and just getting everybody in the field and getting acclimated to the game. And then just like, all right, weather the storm of the Steelers and their physicality and what they're trying to bring to the table, and then play your style of football and go toe-to-toe with them. Like, that's my thing. But I worry about that too. It's like the thing is, we're so ingrained in seeing it. The dumb personal foul, the late hit, the stupid, like, so hopefully this is the time you show, like, we're not the same old Jets. We're actually, instead of giving the ball up, we're getting the turnovers now. We're knocking Rodgers down, strip sacks, things like that. So, in terms of, I see the chat, I'm at a 5. They're at a 6. What's your number? What's your love? 1 to 10?
6.5, 7.
Yeah, I'm the same thing. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, I'm cautiously optimistic because we talked about ways they can do it. Now they actually have to do it. In terms of Armand, come on, man. This is going bad here. But now, one interesting thing is home opener, season opener. You would think Jet fans pack the building. May not be the case because Steeler fans travel well. Jet fans are kind of annoyed by the ticket pricing because the ticket prices are still very expensive, including myself. I'm like, they raised it for Aaron Rodgers. They didn't really lower it down. I think that the crowd may not be, I'd say probably 80% Jet fans, but I think the Steelers will have a strong presence there as well. So that's something you may have to deal with, crowd noise, whatever else. So it's going to be interesting, man. Start out fast, start out quality, maybe get a quick field goal, get the crowd involved on your side to get momentum too. Would be a big asset for them as well. It's going to be interesting, man. Very, very interesting game.
Yeah. Yep. New era starts freaking Sunday, man. Think about all the videos, all the streams that, we've done going back to January.
Can't lose to Aaron Rodgers, dude. We cannot lose to Aaron Rodgers. I do not want to see his smug ass walk up the field smiling and be like, yeah, because it's just the circus be back in town. The Jets blew it. They should have kept Rodgers, blah, 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 blah. Don't want to deal with it.
I think it'll be a lot closer than people think.
I hope so.
Just my guess. My score. See, I don't know. I think 20-16 is going to be my final score. I don't know who I have winning though.
Well, before we go into that, first of all, J Dubs, thank you, man. I get how you guys feel. Let's hope this regime has addressed the penalty issues and give them an opportunity to prove that they have the situation handled. You guys do amazing work. Thank you so much. First of all, super chat. Thank you for enjoying watching us, everything like that, man. I think we're at episode 91 right now. We're getting up there. So thank you very much. So you're saying 20-16?
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of field goals.
I'm gonna say, man, I think it's gonna be 17-14. And I just can't take Rodgers. I can't. I just don't want to lose to him. I don't, for so many damn reasons, especially the one biggest one is being 0-1, dealing with the Rodgers aftermath, then having to beat the Bills. Then it's all right, we're 0-1. You don't want to go 0-2. Beating a very good Bills team is not going to be easy. If you steal this one here, you lose to them. You're just trying to stay relevant, try to stay in the mix, and getting that first win on the shelf is even better. So I'm just hoping, man, it's brutal.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
So for everybody asking, yes, I'll be streaming on Sunday. I'm going to stream the game. And I'm going to try something new this week. I'm going to try something very new, Ian. At 5 o'clock, I'm going to do a wrap-up show. I'm going to take calls, the instant reaction wrap-up show to see what, and uncensored. So if you're pissed off and want to curse, cool. If you're not pissed off and you're happy, we'll talk about it. Try something out. See, it's just see how it goes.
Like it's gonna be calling.
Yeah, call in. Just the game's over. What do you think? Like, so I want to do like the game. The game is played. Aaron Glenn's press conference is over, so you can kind of get all the information and then do a show and be like, all right, let's talk about it. Because when you wait till Monday, a lot of the emotion kind of it's still there, but not that thing. I want that full, just that full energy right after the game, and I'll probably be, maybe a beer too. So yeah, just could be. So, but anything else, dude? Any last thoughts on this game?
Nah, man, I'm just excited. I'm excited. I think the Jets have a pretty cool, unique opportunity to, not many times, can you roll out for a game and say they don't know what to expect at all. They have no idea.
Yes, sir.
I mean, teams get caught off guard when in the playoffs, and we know what these teams are. So, yeah, new quarterback, new coach, new coaches, new schemes. There's a lot of brand new things, man. I cannot wait.
And this will
I don't think the Jets will be perfect too, by the way. I mean, it is like if there is a wasted timeout, there's a crap challenge, whatever. I'm not going to kill Aaron Glenn. Like we can't let the expectation or the frustration with Saleh, in my opinion, carry over and just dump it all on Aaron Glenn. Like Saleh sucked at it. Ulbrich was even worse at it. Aaron Glenn, you're not good at it. It's, week one of year one. So
it is, but I agree with you. But don't talk about being physical, being disciplined, being all this, and come out with a ton of missed tackles and a ton of penalties. That's not what this is about. Like, you've got to show, like, there's got to be a standard. You can't talk about a standard, not have a standard, even if it is just week one. So, no, for everybody asking, this is my co-host on Sunday right there. Mr. Romeo will be streaming with me on Sunday. And we have a good time. He tries to keep me reeled in sometimes when I get just super pissed. So,
yeah, you guys kill it.
Yeah, so we have a good time. So, again, thanks everybody for watching. Next week will be on Ian's channel, recapping our first game. Hopefully, it's a big victory. We can celebrate and enjoy the positives. If not, we could get heated. We never know, because we've been kind of like even keeled so far.
I'm still waiting for the first argument. I want to have it like full on brawl.
It's coming,
screaming into the mic.
It could be if they lose and you're like, oh, not that bad. I'm like, what?
Yeah. That's probably how it's gonna ensue.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Enjoy the game again. I'll be live Sunday streaming it, and then at 5:00 I'm gonna try a post game show. It's all calls. All we're gonna do, me and a couple cocktails, and we'll see what happens. So, talk to you guys on Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your week.
J-E-T-S,